Good morning. Good morning. I'm David Seltzer, a member of this wonderful congregation. Please take your seats. Turn off your cell phones and greet each other. Welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living.
Check 1, 2.
We honor you wherever you are on your spiritual path and know that there is something wonderful here for you this morning. Here's an affirmation from Just Think It by Francine Huff. There is one truth, and I look to this truth nowhere else for all my good. Spirit is present. Spirit is bigger than anything that appears, and Spirit has the power to make all things new. The words to our morning chant are on the screen, followed by the words of the spiritual mind treatment offered by Reverend Karyl Huntley to take you deeply into your own center.
Good morning. Konnichiwa. Ohayou gozaimasu. Okay, we have a 3-part chant this morning, so Carol's going to help me out, and Barbara, my friend Barbara, is going to help sing part. So we're going to 3 parts. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Okay, let's see. Okay, be still and know. Over there, that's Carol's part. Be still and know. And maybe one line from that row can help you out over there. There you go. And then we have breathe in the peace, rest in the emptiness, feel the sweet release. That will be my group. I'll be over here in the middle, okay? I'll be leading that group. And Barbara will be singing this group here, which is going to be feeling peace inside my soul. Feeling peace inside my soul. So we'll learn them one at a time, and then we'll mix and match them, okay? Kind of like cooking, you know? You throw in a little bit of salt, a little sugar, a little rice flour, a little whatever your favorite thing is, and then you have a nice...
Clotted cream.
What is it?
Clotted cream.
Rice flour, clotted cream.
Dark beer, scotch.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first part over there. Be still, pause, and know. Be still, and know. Let me hear you.
Be still and know.
Oh yeah, they got it.
Be still and know.
Beautiful. All right, this group here. Here's your part here. Feeling peace inside my soul. Feeling peace inside my soul. You almost got it. Feeling peace inside my soul. Let me hear you.
Feeling peace inside my soul.
Beautiful. Okay, middle group. We got the fun part. No, really, it's different. Okay, here it goes like this. Breathe in the stillness. Breathe in the peace. Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet release. Breathe in the stillness. Breathe in the peace. Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet release. One more time. Breathe in the stillness. Breathe in the peace. Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet release. Beautiful. Let's put them all together. Okay, we're going to start with Carol's, and then we'll add this one, and then we'll come in, okay? 1, 2, 3. Be still and know.
Be still and know.
Here we go.
Be still
Breathe in the stillness.
and know.
Breathe in the peace.
Be still.
Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet release.
Be still.
Breathe in the stillness. Breathe in the peace. Breathe in the emptiness and feel the sweet release. Breathe in the stillness.
And know.
Breathe in the peace.
Be still.
Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet. One more time. Breathe in the stillness.
And know.
Breathe in the peace.
Be still.
Rest in the emptiness and feel the sweet release. We're getting better. That's difficult, you know. You guys did good. Thank you.
And taking that wonderful, wonderful music and just following our next breath within. And in that place of welcoming each other back home. Me from England and Bodhi from Japan. Let us think for a moment that there are people now in England getting ready to have dinner. And there are people in Japan who are sleeping through the night. And there's us in the 10 o'clock hour on Sunday morning. And the infinite presence holds it all. Because that infinite presence holds the universe and expresses through all of it. That infinite presence lives in people and trees and grasses and waters, animals and ideas, all around our beautiful blue, green, and white planet. And taking that within and knowing that at the deepest, most personal, infinite level, I am the infinite. Each one of us is the infinite. And as I open my heart to everyone on this planet and people right here, and as I open my mind to know that everyone on the planet wants the same things that I want, and people right here want the same things. And opening to the infinite wisdom that says all is already given, I practice what I know to do, which is love and live in sweet and happy expectation for the next moment to be even better than this moment. For healing to be the most natural state, for connection to be exactly what happens on planet Earth, and knowing that peace, poise, power, and beauty are everywhere present. And so I know that right now. And my knowing moves from me in ripples, engaging the world in the same knowingness. I give such thanks for this, releasing it now into the law so that it may be made so. And so it is. Amen. Oh, great. I'm really back. So, I would like to introduce Barbara Juniper, who's been with us before, and our wonderful Bodhi back from his tour in Japan, and we are all home again. Please welcome Barbara and Bodhi.
This is a song that many of you may be familiar with. There's a wonderful woman, Sanatam Kaur, who is a Sikh practitioner and an amazing singer. It's a song called By Thy Grace. And we are so blessed with grace. I'm feeling particularly blessed with grace today because I was in a car accident on Wednesday night that could have been the end of my life, and I'm standing here today singing. So, by Thy grace.
By Thy grace.
By Thy grace that I sing. It's by Thy grace that I sing. It's by Thy grace that I sing Your holy name. It's by Thy grace that I feel. It's by Thy grace that I feel. It's by Thy grace that I feel Your holy name. Someday the day shall come when all the glory shall be Thine. People will say it's Yours, and I shall deny not mine. By Thy grace that I sing. It's by Thy grace that I sing. It's by Thy grace that I sing Your holy name. It's by Thy grace that I feel. It's by Thy grace that I feel. It's by Thy grace that I feel Your holy name. Someday the day shall come when all the glory shall be Thine. People will say it's Yours, and I shall deny not mine. Allah, Jehovah, Rama, Satanama.
Sing it with us.
Allah, Jehovah, Rama, Satanama. Allah, Jehovah,
peace to all, life to all, love to all. There you go. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Let me hear your voices.
Your holy name
Peace to all,
will carry you.
life to all. Yes.
Your holy name
Love to
will carry
all.
you. Your holy name.
Peace to all, life to all.
Your holy
Love to
name. Your holy
Peace to
name
all,
will carry
life to
you. Your holy name.
love to all. Peace to all,
Life to all.
love to all.
Peace to all. Life to all. Love to all. Your holy name.
Thank you. Oh, yum. Good morning. I'm Posey Lyon. I'm the practitioner of the morning. And this is the time in our service where we give gratitude. And Reverend Karyl especially wants to express gratitude on her behalf and Ed Dukowski's behalf for all the people who filled in during the Sunday services while they were away. So just taking that love and gratitude, and so many served so beautifully. So thank you all. And this is a time when we say goodbye to our children and bless them as they go off to teach their teachers, and to just acknowledge the bright lights and bright beings that they are and the light that they bring into each of our lives. Thank you. Thank you. And as usual, we are such a vibrant, just happening community. So do not miss next Sunday. We have a pioneer of the New Thought movement, Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker. So if you have not experienced her, or even if you have, make sure you're here next Sunday and sign up for her workshop, which will take place at Unity next Sunday after the service. And Reverend Sue, I've said that twice now. Sue Ruda. Sue will take your credit cards or your checks or whatever, so you can sign up today for, not take the credit card with you, but accept them. So sign up for the workshop. And on July 1st, we have Reverend Donald Graves coming to do a workshop on how to up-level our relationships. And I haven't experienced him, but apparently he's very funny, charismatic, and very knowledgeable about relationships. So if that's an area that could use some support, make sure to sign up for that. We have Ahawan coming to do an entire weekend. And Ahawan stands for Awakening Humanity to Oneness with All Nature. So many of you have asked for workshops or something around nature, animals. So they are presenting over the entire weekend of June 29th, June 30th, and July 1, 6 different children-friendly workshops on pets and nature, and there's flyers over on the events table to tell you all about it. So that's going to be an amazing event, and we're hosting it. Woo! And there is the singles potluck on June 10th at Reverend Brent's. Look in your pink bulletin for the phone numbers. You must RSVP for that. And Sunday afternoons in the park, our own Reverend Lloyd Tupper will be in Burlingame this afternoon giving his bi-monthly incredible talk. So make sure to get information at the events table for that. And this coming Wednesday, it's the first Wednesday of the month, so we are practicing the presence at the Learning Center, and yours truly will be facilitating an hour-long sinking into the divine through the access of chanting and toning. We will enter the stillness and the silence together. So if you would like to experience a midweek filling up at the well from 7 to 8 o'clock at the Learning Center with me. And there's plenty more in your bulletin, so make sure to read that every week. There's lots of good information. And if you're here for the first time, we have a newcomers table over there with lots of information about our community, and Reverend Karyl would like to meet you after the service. And just know that we honor you right where you are. We see the divinity within you, and we hope you will find your home here. And so, now, without further ado, let's welcome back our own senior minister, Reverend Karyl Huntley.
Well, it is wonderful to be back. It's wonderful to be back. It really is. 2 days ago, I was in Salisbury Cathedral, and in Salisbury, and they were getting ready for the Jubilee celebration, which is happening right now. The Jubilee celebration celebrates 60 years of Queen Elizabeth on the throne. And so we were there very early, the group of us, because we had already been to a dawn event at Stonehenge. And so we got to Salisbury, and it was still before the rest of the crowd of tourists. And in Salisbury Cathedral, they were setting up chairs. They were taping the sound system to the floor. They were arranging flowers. They were dusting. And the organist was rehearsing. And so I went up to these little English ladies who were dusting and arranging flowers, and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's just like home." And they said, "Oh my dear, tell us about your church." And so I said, "Well, it's not quite so grand, but we still do the same things." They were so precious. And I mean, these little ladies with their feather dusters, dusting all of the engraved and carved holy stuff in Salisbury Cathedral. They have about 60 of these holy dusters, and that's what they call themselves, holy dusters. And about every fortnight, which is every 2 weeks, one of them is their turn, and the place is dusted every single day. So I want all of you volunteers to know that you are in the same ranks as the holy dusters. It is so sweet. And it was a very nice re-entry for me, because I thought, my gosh, well, my people are getting ready for Sunday too in their own way. So I was very, very happy. You know, M. Louise, Jackie Barnes, Gail Durkin, Bob Gordon, Mary Christensen, and Ed Dudkowski directly from this community went, along with Sherry Jensen. Many of you remember Sherry Jensen and some of her friends. And there were about 20 of us that went from Paris, then west, and then north to Stonehenge. So it was amazing, and I'll tell you several stories today. Our word today is equanimity. Now, for those of you who are new to this whole process, see that that tree over there has 52 leaves for the year, and it's called Tools for Transformation. So we have a word that is about transformation. If you live it. So there's an opportunity for you to write your own affirmation and your own action step. We have paper trees back there on the newcomers table so you can participate, because you can come and listen and have a wonderful time with the music and the jokes and feel great, or you can really live this and participate and shift in your own way. Janet Ryan did the wonderful altar today. I told her people here for the first time seeing a frog on our altar would think, well, I'm in a different place, and you are. I saw fans, but you know, in Salisbury Cathedral, there are things that are stranger than frogs. I mean, there are mythical beings carved on all of the choir pews that were dusted. So we're right in that tradition as well. And so we have a meditating frog expressing equanimity, and the ruffled fabric represents all of the circumstances of our life that happens, but there in the midst of the storm is the meditating frog. And so the word today is equanimity. And I went all around on this journey with that word in my head. I had it in my journal, and I was thinking in relation to what stories I would tell you about equanimity. And then when I sat down on the plane to really write it, I thought, I wonder what this talk would be like if I had been thinking about healing or trust or abundance, which are words that we've already had on our tree. But it is equanimity. A definition is evenness of composure even under stress. It is that consciousness that expresses all is well. And so I just want to take this opportunity, because I know that there are some people around the world now that are watching online, to say all is well and we love you. So related to this, this consciousness of all is well is balance, acceptance, whatever happens is fine, a sense of fairness, and peace and joy. It is the sweet spot of life, which is the title of my talk, and I also call it the Goldilocks consciousness. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. And so Bodhi actually gave me the title for this talk today. It's his term, that equanimity is the sweet spot of life. And so I thought I'd have him share for a couple minutes.
Yes, the sweet spot of life. When Karyl said equanimity was the title, she wasn't quite sure about that. I said, that's a great word. That's the word I live by. That's the word that's my own personal path of awareness, is equanimity, because that's what works for me in terms of the way I get pushed around, and the way that I want things and don't get them, and the way that things don't happen that I wish they would. And sometimes things are even better than I thought they would be. Even then, my goal is to maintain that sweet spot, because I know that everything passes, everything changes, no matter how good or how bad it is, it always changes again. So it's this thing of being in that sweet spot all the time. And I learned that as a river guide, because I had my own little motto, which was, hit the chutes, miss the rocks. Because there's an equanimity in rafting and floating down the river that is very peaceful. It's a very sweet spot when you're in the flow. And when you're against the flow, I have been against the flow many times, worked too hard, worked not hard enough, and everything just crashes around me and the boat gets stuck. And that's a lot of work. But when I'm just right, when I do this, oh yeah, go that way, oh yes, that way, oh. And if it's going well, you know that feeling of when it's going well, you want to do something, and you really don't need to do anything, because if you do something, you'll mess it up. Anybody know that spot? So anyway, I wanted to just thank Karyl for letting me share that, because when she said that word, I got really happy, because it's really the word that I live by. Not that I always do it well, but I do it with intention, and the desire is to live that equanimous life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So the story that was filled with the greatest equanimity for us on the trip was we had been to the coast of France. We had been to Mont Saint-Michel for a whole day, and that is a wonderful, wonderful island off the coast of France to the north that, it's to the north, where there is an island with a castle and a wonderful sanctuary that is built on a mountain that is an island that floods during high tide. So it's an island when it's high tide, and there's a causeway when it is low tide. And so we were coming back from that to our hotel in Rennes, and it was getting late, and people were getting hungry and cranky. So it was like 8 o'clock at night, and the French do not eat at 6 or 7 or 8 sometimes. And once you sit down to dinner, you are there for a couple of hours. And they think nothing of just taking a long time bringing you the food. And that's the way it is. So it was getting up on 7 o'clock, and we were having hungry and tired people thinking that there was still an hour's drive back to Rennes, and then sitting and waiting for our dinner. So we were in this village, no English anywhere, and not really any people. I mean, this village was already rolled up. But there was one pub restaurant that was open, and so we had a French guide who went to speak to the owner to say there are 23 very hungry people, and could we come for dinner? And so the owner of the restaurant said, "Oh, oui." And then, of course, I can't speak any more French than that, but she basically said, "I just have to go shopping. And then I'll feed you." So we thought probably food would come here faster anyway. So we sat down, she went shopping, and while she was shopping, she called in her friends to help serve us. And so it was a village effort to make this dinner. And there was one hot plate. And so here are the choices for dinner: omelet, steak, or salad. Those were your 3 choices. So each omelet was made separately. Each steak was fried separately because they only had one heating unit. And it came out when it came out. But the owner was this jolly, round woman who did not speak a word of English. And she was exactly like Madame Thénardier in Les Mis. She was joking with us, she was singing, she was patting people, she was flirting with people, she was pinching people. I was having the greatest time bringing out an omelet every now and then. And it was so filled with equanimity, no stress, and joy and peace. And this is what is happening in the moment. This is what we're preparing for. We're feeding 23 people and giving them several beers along the way. And it was a wonderful, wonderful evening filled with equanimity. So that's the best story I have about that, but there are other stories I'm going to share with you. So like a lot of these words that we talk about, equanimity expresses a spiritual principle that already exists. And the spiritual principle is balance. There is balance in the world, no matter what it looks like. And what we do is emulate the nature of spirit so that we can be in balance. Just like Bodhi was talking about going down the river. If you are with what is naturally happening, you are going to be in harmony. It's just like we seek after the principle of buoyancy so we can float. Buoyancy is a natural law. We seek after the principle of balance so that we can be in equanimity. Because we get balance for free in the world. So, launching into another story, we were in Western France, in the area of Brittany, which in ancient times was the same Celtic culture as the rest of Britain, as England and Ireland, Wales and Scotland. The same people set monolithic stones in Brittany. There is a place called Carnac that has 5,000 stones. They say there used to be 30,000, but there are 5,000 stones in 11 rows that go for several miles, that were placed there by Neolithic somebody that we don't have any knowledge about their culture, except that these stones are so precisely placed that they are called alignments because they align with the extremes of the sunrises and the sunsets. They align with sort of fissures in the earth that are under the earth, like fault lines. They're not exactly straight. And first of all, I thought, well, they were trying to be straight, but they're not exactly straight. No. They did aerial photos, some kind of geologic photos. They saw these fault lines underneath the earth, the stones that are way taller than me, tons and tons, 5,000 of them marching in rows, followed the fissure lines. So in this same area of France, there is a rectangle made in stones. The rectangle is 4 units on the long side and 3 units on the short side. Can you picture that? Whatever unit they used, a rope with knots in it. 4 units on the top, 3 units on the side. That particular rectangle, when cut in half by a diagonal line, makes 2 triangles which correspond to a principle of sacred geometry because the diagonal is 5 units. This is called a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So here you have a rectangle with 2 triangles in it, and it is placed, I'm doing our landscape here, it is placed like this on the land, with that being north, like this. So 4 units, 3 units, and the diagonal, which is 5 units. This is a big rectangle. It would go to the shopping center, probably. A big rectangle where if you stood on the diagonal, this would be the winter solstice sunrise, this would be the winter solstice sunset, this would be the summer solstice sunrise, this would be the summer solstice sunset, and it is the only place on the northern hemisphere that this works because it is at 47.6 north latitude. So our ancestors sought for, found, and celebrated balance in that way. Well, actually, there are also monoliths, they say, in Mongolia at the same latitude. So our ancestors had wisdom that we want. It is the wisdom of celebrating balance. So if we seek that natural law of balance and fairness and acceptance for our own experience, we harmonize with our world. Now, we need a little bit more direction because we can also have balance without the gentleness that Bodhi was describing and the gentleness that has to do with equanimity. And history is very evident on this, and I saw a lot of balance that was not balanced, like Versailles. I understand why the French Revolution happened. Because in Versailles, there is not an inch of this palace, well, it's a summer palace, they had other palaces, that is not covered with gold, engraving, carving, painting, gilt, gingerbread, every single place. Acres and acres and acres and acres of square gardens, so big that each one is a maze and you get lost in it. And these squares march down the French countryside. In the midst of that is a man-made lagoon where there's boating. It's so huge. All for the pleasure of the royalty. And then you had the starving peasants. So that's kind of so much wealth here, balanced with so much poverty here. That's your French Revolution. So, and then I have this, I bought this book, and this is about the consciousness of the Middle Ages, actually. It's called The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England. So we're now jumping over to England. So this is a story of something that happened in 1379. Sir John Arundel, the younger brother of the Earl of Arundel, rides up to a convent with a detachment of soldiers planning to sail for Brittany, but the winds aren't right. So he sends for the prioress and wants to stay there with all of his men. And the prioress doesn't want to house a bunch of young men that are going to be bored with nothing to do. So, but she has to because of the welcoming nature of the convent. So to relieve the monotony, the soldiers start drinking and flirting with some of the nuns. Unsurprisingly, the nuns refuse their advances and lock themselves in their dormitory. Undeterred, the soldiers force their way in and rape them. Then at the same time, there is a wedding going on, and these young men kind of steal the bride and mistreat her as well. So then the wind changes, and they take the women onto the boat. But then the wind changes once they're on the boat, going to where they think they're going to go, and so they have to lighten the boat, and they throw the women into the sea. This story is an extreme one, and it would be wrong to suggest it is a typical crime. Nevertheless, it is believed in its entirety by the chronicler who writes it down. Medieval people believe that groups of young men do behave like this. Certainly young men can be extremely selfish and destructive, especially when armed, bored, drunk, and in a gang. So they talk about the naturalness of violence and the naturalness of violence in family. But then they talk about the extreme piety that also exists. There is no more obvious contrast to the body, insensitive humor, and violence of the time than people's spirituality. To be modestly religious in the 14th century is to be fervent by modern standards. And so this violence and religiosity and superstition and humor that you would not think is funny is the balance that is considered normal in the 14th century. And so, mostly, we of course have come through this. Mostly, we are a more gentle population now. And we live in a more gentle consciousness. And as we live in a more gentle consciousness, that expands worldwide. And this kind of violence that was really normal. These are our ancestors, people. This is what was normal that we lived through. So there can be a balance that isn't positive. Equanimity takes this balance and adds grace so that there is a consciousness that is calmly even no matter what is happening. So, same country today, in the Jubilee celebration of the Queen, 60 years on the throne, there is a saying that is in all of the windows and on all of the little souvenir products. And the saying is, calm down and carry on. It's on bags, it's on tea boxes, it's on dish towels, it's on everything. So I asked about this, and it turns out that in World War II, there was this saying, calm down and carry on. And there were a whole lot of posters that were printed with calm down and carry on. And then the war stopped. And so they didn't need the posters anymore, so they recycled them, destroyed them, whatever. But there was a stash of them that was found in somebody's attic, of course. And so it was sort of reintroduced into modern culture as a part of the celebration of this queen. So we have moved through, we have evolved immensely 600 years down the line, that in the same culture we should now have the equanimous saying of calm down and carry on. So when we seek for and express that balance that seeks the good for all, we are participating truly in that spiritual law that exists. And it's a challenging spiritual practice to seek to be balanced with composure when no matter what is happening around us. and to consider the good of all the time. The young men were very, very selfish, and that is the best thing that we can say about them. And when we are filled with equanimity, we are in that balance and thinking of others all the time. So when we were on Mont Saint-Michel, there is a corresponding island that is named for the same saint, Michael's Mount, off of the coast of Cornwall. Mont Saint-Michel in France, Michael's Mount in Cornwall, same thing happens. It's an island with a church on it that floods during high tide. And our guide had been there that very week before. So he said, here we were, completely enthralled with where we were. And he said, I would like to send our love to the corresponding island. And it was to the northwest. So we all faced to the northwest and we sang, I send my love over the mountains, I send my love over the sea. And we had Suzanne Baldwin with us, so we were harmonizing. And I mean, we were like a choir singing to Michael's Mount and sending our love over the mountains and over the sea. And we were on kind of a patio way high up on this mountain of Mont Saint-Michel, and every tourist stopped and listened to us. And we were actually filmed by some Japanese people, and so we were saying, we're going to be on Japanese YouTube. but we were applauded as we finished, because even without, and people who didn't speak our language actually asked, what were you singing? And somehow we communicated that. But the point is, thinking of the other fills us with that beautiful principle of equanimity. Now, another universal lesson that we talked about on this trip has to do with the Arthurian legend. In Winchester Castle, where we were, there is a round table that is said to be the oldest round table dedicated to King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, which is so, it's so far back in myth that we don't know if there really ever was an Arthur. If he was like in the 400s. But the very complex theme of Arthur and the Round Table with stories of all of those knights is still very much alive, and actually the archetypes live in us. So on the wall, they used to be sitting on legs, but now on the wall is this wonderful, huge round table that has been on the wall in Winchester Castle for 700 years. So we talked about the Arthurian legend. And the guide, Glenn, was talking about the sword and the stone that Arthur drew out when he was a boy. That sword is not Excalibur. Excalibur, the sword that he took into battle that was the famous sword, was given to him by the Lady of the Lake. So what happened was that when Arthur became a young man and needed a sword of his own, Merlin took him to Dawsmory Pool, and a beautiful woman, the Lady of the Lake, emerged out of the lake with this amazing sword just coming out. So the sword point came first, and then the arm, and then this beautiful Lady of the Lake. And she presented the sword to Arthur and said, "This is the strongest sword in the land. It can cut through stone. But as strong as the sword is, it is not as powerful as the scabbard. The scabbard is the sheath into which a sword is placed." She said, "The one who wears the scabbard will never die of his wounds." Now, when you look at this mythically, the scabbard is the divine feminine, the sheath. And what the Lady of the Lake is saying is that the divine feminine, which definitely would have cured those rowdy boys, needs to emerge into the world for balance. The divine feminine, with its intuition, its receptivity, its nurturing qualities, not to say that it is more important than the sword, which is directive, decisive, logical, and forward moving. But it is a balance that needs to be expressed in the world then and in the world now. And so I thought that that was such a beautiful sort of summary of the balance that we're seeking, because when there is a balance in a culture of masculine and feminine, of receptivity and generosity, of fairness and evenness, what happens is a society that is filled with great safety and trust and peace and joy. And we found such a society on our trip. The Isle of Guernsey is off of the French coast. It is an amazing combination of French and English culture. It was occupied during World War II, and for 5 years, all of the food that was grown on Guernsey was given to the German army. But now it is a wealthy, beautiful, pristine, friendly, humorous, small island. I mean, it's 4 miles across at its biggest. And they have there what are called hedge veg boxes. Hedge veg boxes are filled with whatever that family produces. Potatoes, onions, cut flowers, greeting cards, and these little hedge veg boxes have their stuff right on the road with a price list and a little cup for payment. That's the way this island operates, because it is filled with equanimity, balance, trust, and joy. So I encourage you to really think about the affirmation that you're going to use with this word and the action. Maybe beginning with, I am expressing equanimity, balance, and evenness today. I know that some of us like to express ourselves passionately, and that's mostly that's just really fabulous, but passionate expression sometimes can hurt other people if the passionate expression is anger or verbal violence. And so just practicing that, what Bodhi gestured so beautifully. We want to go this way. Oh, okay. Now we want to rethink it, go this way, and live in this evenness. Because when we live in this evenness, what happens is miracles. So the last story I'm going to tell you is going to Guernsey. We actually were immigrating into English territory. So we had to go through major security because of, enhanced security because of the Jubilee celebration for the Queen. And so we were in 2 big vans, and we were in the first van. So our van was chosen to be searched. So we went into like a garage thing, and there were 2 officers there, a man and a woman, and they very, very sternly said for us all to get out of the van and to take everything out of the van. So we took backpacks, purses, cameras, luggage, all out of the van, and then we lined up. And the first 2 people that we were filled with equanimity. We were friendly, we weren't, too friendly. It was in the morning, so we were rested, we weren't hungry, nobody was cranky, and we were just going to do this no matter how long it took. And so the first 2 people that they searched, they did a pat down. They searched everything. In the backpacks, they took the plastic bags, they looked in the plastic bags, they looked through all of the luggage. Everything was searched for the first 2 people, and I was the 3rd person. So I came up, I had the pat down, which actually kind of felt kind of good. So then I had my little harp with me. So I put the harp up on the table, and the officer said, "Open this for me." So I opened it, unzipped it, and he looked and he transformed. And he said, "Oh, a Celtic harp. I'm Celtic. All you people, just put this back in the van. You're fine." I am not kidding you. It happened exactly like that. Exactly. Not one other thing was looked at. And if I were talking about abundance or healing, I would probably tell that story with a different point to it. But the point today is that when you're filled with equanimity, miracles happen. Miracles happen. So let's do the inner work now. The inner work where we see a world. We see the world we want to bring into being. And so I do see a world in which there is absolute acceptance of all people. I see a world in which there is an evenness of temperament that makes everyone safe, trusting, and filled with peace and joy. I see a world in which there is a balance with grace, a graceful balance that seeks to find the good for all. And in seeking to find the good for all, the good is made manifest in ways that are expected and ways that are absolutely not expected. I see a world in which truly there is only us and more us. There is no one to fear, no one to be suspicious of, no one to be envious of. There is an evenness, an acceptance, a grace, a trust, a faith, and a peace that passes understanding. And so it is.
Thank you, Karyl. I was going to say, when you're filled with music, miracles happen. And the harp, you should have played it for him. Did you play it for him? Did you play him a song?
Didn't be very businesslike.
You never know. I sang this song once before, last fall, but today we have Barbara singing with me, so it's extra special. This is Barbara Juniper, and the song is called "I Will Come For You at Dawn." 'Twas early fall, and I woke from a dream of angel voices in the wind, and the story they told I will tell you now. So close your eyes and we shall begin. A young girl asked her daddy one day, what makes the world go round? He replied, 'Tis love, my dear, And when this you know, your heart will be found. Well, she believed him and set her course to sail to freedom like a bird, with love as her compass. If she ever got lost, her daddy would sing to her these words. Yea, though the seas may rage with storm, and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. And when this maiden came of age, she loved a young man full of dreams. He said, I must go and find myself, but I'll tell you this before I go. Yea, though the seas may rage with storm, and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. Her life was full and great work she had done, with children of her own. And when her daughter was afraid one day, she sang to her, you are not alone. For though the seas may rage with storm, and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. Yea, though this tale is short and sweet, like rain that settles in the tree, where'er you go, no matter what you do, may there be wind that shakes those raindrops free. May there be wind that shakes those raindrops free. For though the seas may rage with storm, and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn, and I will come for you at dawn, and I will come for you at dawn. Thank you.
Perfect song. Just want to say Ed Dudkowski has some great stories too, so be sure and talk to him and the other folks when they come back. Now is the time for us to share with that great quality of equanimity. Just know that as you share and it flows from you, more flows to you, and there is just this great balance that you cannot outgive God. You cannot be lost. You cannot be dropped out of anything. You are right here participating. So if you would just take your gift in your hands and feel the joy of of participating in that circulation and flow. Knowing that as we give with love and peace and joy in our hearts, that not only does more supply come back to us, but the qualities with which we give as well. And so whatever it is that you want more of, give knowing that more is yours. So with the ushers now, please receive the gifts as we sing this song. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. One last time. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. Everything I do, everything. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you. Yeah. So we bless this offering and the dear hearts that gave it, just knowing that the increase is on the way, the blessings are on the way, that everything that we need is supplied, and so it is. Amen. So I will remind you, be sure and come next week. Terry Cole Whitaker is an icon of New Thought, and she is quite a treat. And she'll be staying in my guest room. So it'll be such a trip. I mean, Terry Cole Whitaker is going to be staying at my house.
Oh, there you go. You're gonna be in the hot
I'm
seat,
telling you
in
what,
the fire, man.
when I met her, this was years ago, before I was a practitioner, anything. I didn't even have a church, but I knew about Terry Cole Whitaker, and I started coming to her, and I thought that woman walked on water, and now she's gonna be staying in my guest room. So with the practitioners, please come
That's because you walk on
forward.
water now,
Well,
honey.
okay, thank you. And Posey's going to pray us out.
And would the rest of the practitioners please surround the room with your love and your consciousness. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes and to just feel into, sense that quality of equanimity. As I speak this word, remembering that there is truly only God, everywhere, all of it, all of God, whatever we choose to call it, all of it is present in every point of space as unconditional love and immutable law. And each one of us is a point, is a part of, is one of that presence that I choose to call God. Each one of us has available to us every quality of God that we can imagine, including equanimity, when we say yes to it. So right here, right now, I claim and accept a shift in consciousness for everyone in this room to feel feel, sense, embody, embrace that quality of equanimity, so that as each one of us steps out into the world, that we stay on that point of balance, that we stay in the flow, that each one of us remembers, oh yes, I can ground myself in that place of equanimity, of balance, of peace, of poise. And so I give thanks for that opening that allows each one of us to experience greater equanimity, peace, poise, presence, power in every single moment of our lives. God is so good in the midst of the I am that is we. So I release this word to the activity of the law, knowing there's nothing I need to do except let go, allow. So I say yes, I let it be, and so it is. Amen.
So would you repeat with me this affirmation? I am balanced within and without.
I am balanced within and without.
Reflecting the natural order of God's universe.
Reflecting the natural order of God's universe.
I am in a place of acceptance and receptivity.
I am in a place of acceptance and receptivity.
No matter what circumstances come my way.
No matter what circumstances come my way.
My thoughts, words, and actions.
My thoughts, words, and actions
are for the good of all.
Are for the good of all.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
And oh yes, stand. Forgot that part. Stand for our closing song, please.